that is total IT professional, Ifeyinwa. It's a joker for the cybersecurity expert who has worked in many cybersecurity platforms and counter-attack forms. She's a chartered member of CPM and the current chairman of the Nigeria Compliance Service in Anambra State. She's currently researching to find how cybersecurity can be applied for faster results in mitigating climate change. And the outcome research is what she wants to tell us. I'm particularly excited about this because all the ongoing discussions are not about applying cybersecurity. I would like to hear how cybersecurity can be involved into this part for climate change solution. May we have you, madam?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. Ifeanyi Obioka for standing on already established protocols. I'm glad to be with NCS Imo State chapter. Thank you very much, every one of you. I bring you greetings from Anambra State chapter as brothers and one family. Please, I'll be sharing my slide. Please, can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, I bring you greetings from Anambra State professional colleagues. It's glad to be in your mix. Most of us were here, but I've dropped to attend some critical meetings, engagements. So I'll be discussing, I don't know, do I go through? Please, once my slide stop advancing, inform me. I'm moving on a full screen. Thank you. Yeah. I said once you stop showing, I'm in my title page. Can you see it?
Yes, we are seeing it.
Okay. So I'll be speaking on the prospect of cybersecurity in climate change. And my previous speakers and presenters have said a lot about climate change. I'll not dwell much on that. And I thank the Imo State chapter for coming up with this, because even our SDG goal 13, 14, and 15, and all of them, the SDG goal, in the aim to transform our world, the call to attention to end poverty and ensure all human beings, everything, any living thing, enjoy the planet Earth. And this climate change fall on the goal 13, which is climate action. Take action to combat our climate change. Now, bringing this to our cybersecurity, know that cybersecurity is the practice to protect and safeguard our computer networks data from theft, damage, cybercriminal, authorized handling access of our data. Now, the first presenter, Dr. Ijoma, talked about our data being a gold mine. Now, once this data is being affected in one way or the other, it would affect the climate and the critical infrastructures that work hand in hand to regulate the activities of our climate, on our water life, and on the land, life on the land. So I'll move over. We have the cybersecurity and the climate change. The intersection of this cybersecurity and climate change, there is very crucial concern. As our world is evolving, transiting into renewable energy source, smart grid, which most of the presenters have talked about, so I will not really dwell on this. I will move to the cybersecurity landscapes that is evolving as our climate change is advancing to the risks of anthropogenic, which is referring to the environmental change caused or influenced by human beings, either directly or indirectly. So this cybersecurity landscape is also leveraging on those differences, on those different phenomena to gain access, to be a threat to those critical infrastructures that help in our climate change. Then we now have the advanced critical infrastructure, where you refer it as the assets, the system, the network that are required for a country, for the citizen to function properly. Now, when we talk about our climate critical infrastructure, many protection mechanisms have been put in place to prevent, prepare, and respond to different incidents. Then some protection techniques have been emerged, like the use of cutting-edge technology, drones, helicopter, strike threat monitoring. With all this security, yet we need to protect the softwares, we need to protect the technology involved, we need to protect our critical infrastructure from cyber threats, the cyber threat from being accessed by the unknown. Then we now have the landscapes that they can leverage on. We have the power grid, the flood protection, the food supply system. All these things are all systems, and they fall in between the IT system and the operational technology system. Then we also have our cybersecurity being in the center to ensure that all these systems are put in place. We need to have the right tools to take care of them. Now, when we talk about, like I mentioned, all the cyber providers that operate on our transportation system, the energy transportation system, the health sector, like what one of the just talks about, the health sector of it, the water, when you have the SDG Go 14, our water life. So these are the critical infrastructure that human being, the living being on the planet Earth, on the climate, needs to take note of. Then for us to have a good, secure environment, we have to monitor our information system. We have to ensure that the operational technology is being checkmated. Operational system controls and monitor our physical equipment process in the industry, like the manufacturing, the energy. They focus on real-time management to ensure effective and safety. They collect information, they collect, they process and store data, using those data for decision making. Now, if our system, the industrial control system, the supervisory control system is being tampered, is being compromised, the results given, the output, the data, the information generated there will be compromised, and it will not give the right decision making. So we now have identify and maintain important IT and information technology. So we have to identify and maintain an accurate inventory. Now we have to, in every organization, in all institutions, all these cadres, we have to check the important assets, the critical one, the ones that needs more security, the one that needs high or low risk. So we have to check those things and know how we place our risk management. So we have to identify assets critical to the delivery service, such as the room. Then we have to also get to know the critical assets, the location, the software, the hardware, the firmware that is involved that will help to carry out our data and decision making. Then also the risks accepted, you identify and manage assets risks. Know which risks you can mitigate, risks you can accept, and risks you can transfer. With this monitoring activity, identifying it, you can know how to manage this. Then we move to the manage supply chain. Now, all our climate infrastructures, they don't produce everything they need. So they have to have third-party IT, third-party that will help them with some resources, that will help them to carry out things. Now, for those organizations, they need to maintain a configuration check, detailed for the password, ensure that there is no weaknesses in any product, in any system they are getting from the supplier. Because once you have a good security in the organization, once there is a good security in the organization, that you cannot be prone to any vulnerability, be prone to any attack. Now, the cybercrime can look at where you get your products, your goods and services, where you store your data on the crime, and they will now check their own vulnerability. If they are not sitting and following the GRC, governance, risk, and compliance, now they can be exploited to reach to that organization, to that waste management system, to that flood control system, and they will now cause a terrorist attack, will not cause a statewide attack to maybe to the community, just to get at the government, or to the maybe by competitors to get to that company. So the supply chain needs to be checked at all times and ensure that they follow out risk. Then once you ensure that they are following out risk, each time you get a product, run a variability analysis, do a pen testing, check if it really patched the current threat, virus threat in the virus definition, and before deploying such devices, such product to the organization. Please, I hope my slide is advancing.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Okay. Now we have designed a resilient network. So once you want to use a software, ensure that such software is not prone to cross-site injection or cross-site forgery. Then once the site is on, no one can inject to the database, no one can compromise the file, no one can affect all the information both stored on transit or in process. So once there's a resilience network, then ensure that there's a periodic check in the configuration. Once you buy any Internet of Things or any devices, both our router, our firewalls, we don't need to continue with the default password. You need to change those default password, because once they use, we have shoulder, every device is on the net, even our phone, it has its own address on the internet. Once they see that you are still using the default password that comes with it from the manufacturer, they can use it to access the network. They can use it to access the server, the domain. So we need to get and ensure that we implement a resilience network. So please, I'm very fast so that, because we are behind time schedule. Then very importantly, if you have a good and a strong security, both physical and the cyber-wise and the digital-wise, and you do not train the staff, the end user, they said that human beings are the weakest point. They can be prone to social engineering. They can be prone to so many malicious threats. So we need to train the employees, the staff, the end users of our product, apart from ourselves, needs to sensitize them, give them the necessary cyber security awareness. Then also perform adequate background check. If someone is logging out from different locations, ensure there is a zero trust. Verify if it's actually the person logging into that access, assessing that level of right at that moment. So it will also help to keep the security intact. Then also educate the employee, like bring your own device. What device did they have to connect to the system network? In some organizations in Nigeria, they will come with their own system and connect with their organization network. So with this now, they can tamper some malicious file. Those, the cyber criminal from their own network will transition into the organization network and stay there and have a dwell time. Dwell time is the time it takes for the malicious hacker to be seen, the time it takes before he starts exploiting, before he starts manifesting the aim or objective conforming into that system. So an attacker can steal 2 years, 3 years persistent threat on a system without being noticed, just monitoring for a meantime before it will explode is action. So we have to place a rules, a compliance, a policy on how bring your own device to the organization work. Then we now also have implement an access management system. How do you create who log in, who access so and so files, who access this document, who trigger this, who alert, who send alert. So with this good access management procedure, there is need to have a split password. If one of the critical or CEO or a key management organization personal details is being compromised, the cyber criminal will not have access to that infrastructure because you just have one part of the coin. And it's for the organization. If the staff has been trained very well, you have to send information immediately to the incident responder so that they can know how to mitigate the threat before it will escalate. So you also need to implement good firewalls, separate your Internet of Things from your normal system, have their own separate network, have a good demilitarized firewalls to protect those systems, the server, ensure adequate multi-factor authentication and authorization in those critical infrastructure. So then we have to remain vigilant and know how to manage all these vulnerabilities because every day new cyber threat is coming up. That's why the government is now encouraging what we call threat intelligence, information sharing. Once a company have been breached in one way or the other, they can hide their identity, but share the lesson learned from such breach or attack. It will also help other organizations to stay put and alert. So, and most time to also manage vulnerability, some organizations create what we call the honey point. Honey point is like just create a variable system, look at what asset that is variable to the cyber criminal. You just be looking at them. They will not know that you're watching them, that they came into your system. You just create a honey point. So the tool will not help you. Then have a good network wireless capturing techniques like the network mining, the Wireshark. It will help you to monitor the activity taking place in the network, who have attempt to log in, who have attempt to maybe access the network. You just see all the things happening there in a glance. Okay. Then have a good incident response. With this, it will help you checkmate once there is any data breach or any attack in any form. So how do you plan? Because attack is definitely going to come, but how you mitigate it, how you handle it, and the lesson learned is very important for business continuity. So you have to plan ahead for that. So every organization needs to prepare, develop a policy plan, recovery plan, have a backup, a standby, so that if there's any breach or a compromise, that the organization will not go down. It will continue with the backup while coming up. In conclusion, to acknowledging the independence of cyber security and climate change, there's a need to enhance in data disaster response and recovery, like what do happen in our power grid and the next in Nigeria. So we need to have a good disaster recovery system so that everything will not be down. Then the cybersecurity will play a critical role in responding and recovering from every form of climate-related disaster. Then developing a good cybersecurity solution, educating the users, the masses, the citizens, monitoring the impact of the climate change on our operational technology, such as the extreme weather, the sea level, the deforestation, and the rest. It will help to mitigate some of these challenges. Then we are to develop more effective strategy to mitigate the impact of climate change and create more reasonable, resilient, and sustainable future with the collaboration of the citizen, the stakeholder, and government. Addressing cybersecurity in climate change will require the international cooperation, information sharing, coordinated effort from every one of us to develop and implement an effective security measures. Thank you very much. I appreciate. Hello.